Hello class. As I said, there is extenuating circumstances for what we're doing. So, for unit number 7, okay, I'm going to show you guys how to access the assignment, and then I'm going to go ahead and lecture through Sub-Saharan Africa, okay, and I'll stop at points where there's important information, especially for the assignment, and also for the strengths or portions for the exam. So for assignment number 7, okay, to access it, go here to assignments, okay. And you want to scroll down, go to assignment 7 right here, okay. And then it will pull up, so you're going to use this to type out your answers, okay. You'll type it out. Now, when you are completed, okay, what you want to do is when you're done, you then want to click on here. So again, assignment 7 Dropbox. And then, excuse me, you will then go to add file. Make sure you save it with your last name and then assignment 7. So for me, it'd be Moody assignment 7, okay, whatever your last name is, and then assignment 7, okay. So I just wanted to emphasize that so that way you guys can do it. To follow along with the lecture, okay, again, you guys will see it here in the video, but again, it's right here, 7. And then, whoops, wrong one there. Go ahead and click on this, and then of course click on that, and of course you'll be able to follow along, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just lecture through it. I know we started on it last time we saw each other, but I'm just going to go ahead and start from the beginning, okay. So unit 7 is Sub-Saharan Africa, okay. And as I mentioned in the class, that it's all countries south of the Sahara, okay? So the Sahara is here in North Africa, but again, it's referring to all countries here in the southern part of the country, okay? So it also includes the Congo, which is a tropical region. And as stated before, every human being is indigenous to Africa, okay? So not indigenous to other continents, but we all are indigenous to Africa because, again, that's where human beings began. Now, for the various climates here, okay, I'm going to answer these questions just by looking at the map here, okay. But clearly you can see here in the Congo, which is right here, that is a humid tropical climate, meaning it is wet year-round, and it is hot year-round, okay. So it's wet and hot year-round here in the Congo, okay. Again, you know, most of sub-Saharan Africa is seasonally humid tropical, meaning there are wet and dry seasons, okay? So there are wet and dry seasons throughout most of it, and it's also called the savanna, okay? And I'll explain that here when we go into specific what most of the landscape is in the realm. And then again, for the Horn of Africa, which is Somalia, of course, that is a semi-desert for most of it, with the exception of parts of the coast there. And then again, South Africa has a humid subtropical climate because of water influences, okay? The currents actually go right here and prevents, okay, any, and to be a desert climate or, again, a humid tropical climate. So it goes ahead and it actually milds it. And then finally, again, the climate for Ethiopia is highland, and again, that actually helped them, especially when they were fighting the Italians. Now, if you notice our world, it almost looks like a jigsaw puzzle, okay? How South America fits in a portion, Sub-Saharan Africa, how portions here of North America could fit there, where Morocco is in that. I mean, it's almost like a jigsaw puzzle, okay? Africa is actually the puzzle that solves the theory of Pangea, okay? That the Earth was one time one massive supercontinent, particularly in the time during the dinosaurs, okay? But then later on, it broke apart, and now they're saying that the Earth will once again become a form of Pangea, okay? If you actually look at soils going way, way back, we're talking like those big soil samples that would take up half the room, you can actually see there's some of them are related, particularly there in portions of South America, to where it should fit near Nigeria and Cameroon. So it's quite interesting how you can see that. What's really big in sub-Saharan Africa are rift valleys, okay? You can clearly see on this map that there is the Red Sea right here. And then you also have Lake Victoria, and then you have the Gulf of Aden. These right here are examples of rift valleys. Some of the mountain forms too, although they're not comparable to the Urals or the Andes or Sierra Nevadas, are created by rift valleys. So what is a rift valley exactly? Well, a rift valley, ladies and gentlemen, okay, is a divergent plate, meaning it goes apart. So it means that, it goes apart from one another. So sort of like this, meaning that it pulls apart, okay, the way I'm demonstrating right here. And what happens is over time, you have weathering, you have erosion that makes the hole even bigger, and then sometimes the hole will fill with water, okay? So that is what a rift valley is, okay? And they're very dominant here throughout sub-Saharan Africa, okay? So again, divergent plate pulls apart and what creates the landscape here throughout the realm. Now, as stated before, savannas are the major landform in sub-Saharan Africa, okay? Again, if you look at this image right here, almost looks like something from the Lion King. We look here, again, you can see that from the Lion King, the antelope and that. So again, it's kind of interesting how you see these trees. It kind of reminds you of the Lion King movies there, okay? Both the cartoon and, of course, the live version. The most common natural disaster on this landform is not flooding, okay? You think it would be during the wet season. It's actually wildfires. Wildfires are very dominant here throughout savanna. And the reason is, if you just look at this image right here, it's dry. So if there's any dry lightning, or let's say there's people that start fires, that's why it can become very prevalent there. Because it's just so dry during the dry season that it's almost like, a perfect combination there in allowing for there to be a massive, fire breakout. Okay, it's kind of like in California during the dry season where it's just so tender, the vegetation, that, anything, whether it be human or whether it be caused by lightning, it will cause it to, a fire to break out. Okay, so that's why wildfires are very dominant throughout here. Okay. So I'm going to go into agriculture, and again, I will let you guys know when you do need to start answering, of course, the questions for your assignment number 7. But if you notice in sub-Saharan Africa that the main farming practice is mostly, low subsistence agriculture, okay? And the reason is because you have to remember, sub-Saharan Africa is not as developed, okay, when compared, of course, to other realms, okay, when compared to North America, East Asia, or Europe, okay, that's why it's low technology subsistence, okay, they just can't afford, the mechanization, say, like Japan or China, or now even India and the United States, okay. Although South Africa is the exception, because it is the wealthier out of all the countries that are present there, okay, so they can actually afford, mechanization, John Deere tractors, etc., okay. Also in sub-Saharan Africa, if you look at the map right here, I'll go ahead and I'll show it to you guys, there is a lot more diversity as well. That's because it has a very diverse climate, okay. When you have a diverse climate, you have diverse farming, similar to what we have here in the United States, okay. So we have a very diverse climate, so diverse farming. Same thing in China. Diverse climate, diverse farming. So South Africa is the same way. And again, they are wealthier when compared to other countries, okay? So subsistence farming is dominant throughout most of the realm, and again, it's because they can't afford it. They're not as developed when compared to other countries and other realms that I mentioned. Now, before we get into the question, I do want to emphasize a couple of things, okay? When Western Europeans colonized, because again, you didn't have the Poles or the Czechoslovakians or Yugoslavians or the Greeks, etc., colonize, okay, sub-Saharan Africa. But when the British, the French, a little bit of Spanish and the Portuguese, a little bit of the Germans and the Dutch did, they of course took the best land and made cash crops. So like cotton, tobacco were the big ones, okay? With this though, again, this is also something that goes back to what we call tribalism, meaning you're more loyal to your tribe than, say, the country as a whole. there are problems with insurgency. A lot of governments are unstable in sub-Saharan Africa, even in more developed countries like South Africa and Nigeria. Okay, it has hampered economic development and farming. Okay, so again, even the wealthier countries are having the same problems. Okay, so for question number one, okay, I want you to come up with 3 factors as to why would having internal problems and insurgency hamper development and improving farming. Okay, here are some factors to think about. Okay, if you have an area that is unstable, okay, why would people be hesitant to invest in it? Say like Bill Gates and that, and even Jeff Bezos, why they be hesitant to invest in them to say, improve economically? But also, what would happen to the farms too? Like, if there's conflict arisen, could this actually impact the farms? Could also impact the people there. Could also impact, other things too. Could impact the government. Could impact the government giving the subsidies for the farmers. Okay, there's a lot of aspects here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop the video here to let you answer question number 1.